Welcome. If you're here, you're trying to learn about 6-2 rotations in volleyball. This is Coach Kennedy from Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to explain to you the rotations and how they should work. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to start with rotation 1 and 4 serve. So remember that rotations 1 and 4 are identical, 2 and 5 are identical, and 3 and 6. And serve means that your team is the one that's serving. So we're going to start there. A few notes before we get going. S will represent the setter. OH will represent our outside hitter. That's the girl who's hitting the 4 or the left side attack. I'm going to put 4, so those of you that need it can remember it. RH will be the right side hitter. This is often called the opposite hitter as well. And we set that as a 5. We have our middles, which will be our middle hitter. We have our... in this game, since we don't have a libero this year, we're going to call her a DS, which is a defensive specialist. They really focus on passing, staying in the back row. We're also oftentimes known as a libero, but we are not playing with a libero, so we're going to call him a DS. So these are our main positions on the court, so we're going to follow these positions throughout the rotation. So in rotation 1, when we have the serve, we want our setter to start out with the serve, okay? Because our setter wants to start in the rotation she's supposed to be in, so we'll have our setter begin the serve, alright? So our setter is going to start in the right back position, and she will be back here serving, okay? So anytime I draw somebody in this corner from now on, that means they are serving. Okay, so my setter's serving, and the opposite player to her is the right side hitter. So the right side hitter will be here. We're going to have our middle start exactly where they want to be, and we'll have our outside hitter here, which also means through the opposites we've reviewed that the other opposite hitter will be outside hitter will be on this left corner of the court, and our DS will be right here in the center. So the DS and the middle are kind of opposites. Outside and outside are opposites. Right side and setter are opposites. So it's pretty easy to see that clear connection between your opposites. So if you're ever lost in this kind of rotation, just say, oh, I know I'm across from the middle, so find her. Alright, so my setter is going to serve the ball over the net, and this nice pink highlighter would represent the serve going over. Once that occurs, my opposite and my right side and my outside are not where they want to be, right? So my right side needs to get to the right side of the court, and my outside hitter needs to get to her position. So they're just going to get nice up and close to this middle before the point starts. And once this ball has been served, this pink line has crossed over the net, and the server has contacted it, they can actually switch positions. Okay? Other than that, there's pretty much nothing to go over. This is a pretty simple rotation for everybody. I will say that I'd like my outside hitter a little more pinched in to play her defense, and my passer can kind of hug in the back row and setter as well. So you can kind of see the zones that the passers are in charge of. And this is very dangerous, right? This is our danger zone, the donut. We do not want our ball dropping in the donut because there are many players near it, and it's easily picked up. Okay, so that's rotation 1 serve. So again, notice where you would be on the court if you're playing any of these positions. So if I say, you're playing outside hitter today and you're going to start in left back, in rotation 1, you would be here. Alright, so feel comfortable with this rotation. Again, this is rotation 1 and this is rotation 4 in our lineup. Alright, cool. So now the serve receive for that same exact rotation. So remember, if you look back here, our setter is out in the open right now. She's in the right back position, and we don't want that to happen. So to avoid any balls going to the setter is going to hide. And she's going to hide behind her outside hitter, who will step back for a second and become a passer instead of just being up at the net. Okay? And when she does that, the setter will wait to release from behind the outside hitter, basically. Okay, and we're still going to have our DS in the same spot. We're going to have our other outside hitter in the same spot. So this is the only time the outside and the outside are in the same area of the court. Alright? Our middle standing pretty much right in the middle of the court, and that is to kind of help with these balls that land right here in the little mini donut. In case they need to, they can maybe step back and take a ball with their hands. They can also cover this little zone if they need to. Again, we don't really like our middles to pass, but if we need to, they will. Alright, and then we also have our right side here. So if you notice, our right side's not where she's supposed to be, and neither is our outside. They're in kind of opposing spots. So if the outside would go up to hit, she'd be hitting on the right side, which is wrong for her. So again, we call this serve receive is stay for one, meaning that my outside will stay for one rotation as the right side. She'll hit as a right side for one, and my right side will also do the same. She'll head as an outside for one rotation. Okay? And basically when the ball comes over, the pink will represent the ball. So the ball comes over, let's say the DS passes it, the setter will set that ball to the right side, who's again my outside hitter. The second that my outside hitter spikes it back over, which will be represented by this blue line, then she and my right side are going to switch. The second that ball gets contacted over, they're switching, and I'll yell that at you consistently because you're switching. Okay, so that's the rotation for that serve receive. Nothing really too special about it. It's actually pretty simple. Again, just look for your position on the court. And really the only person that's got to worry about too much is the setter, the outside hitter, and the right side hitter. Alright, so that's rotation 1, 4, serve and serve receive. Rotation 2 and 5. So now we have, oops, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Alright, so now we're in rotation 2 or 5, and we are the serving team. So that means we've rotated from rotation 4 or rotation 5. Which brings my outside hitter to the serving position. Sorry, I wrote that so big. So they will serve back here. Okay, my outside hitter my outside hitter is serving. And really my setter would be here in her actual position, but that special tricky little rule allows her to start right here. So my setter is just going to start in her base position when my outside is off the court. Okay, because my outside's little feet are going to be right over here, which puts her off the court, and the setter is free to roam. Okay? So once that outside goes off the court, the setter is free to be where she needs to be. Then we'll have our DS right over here, and they're going to hang out in this position for one rotation. And once that outside hitter serves the ball, she will actually take the place of the setter. Okay, so she'll be in that position there. So we'll still have our 3 people passing in the back row if we need them. Oh, I'm sorry. So that's where our back row is. And now we have our second outside hitter she's up in the front row now, and that's an easy thing to see because her opposite is way back over there serving. So our outside hitter is in the front row, which puts our right side here right in the middle and our middle over here. But these girls again are not where they want to be, so they're going to do some switching to get to where they want to be, and it's an easy switch for the middle and the right side. And again, these players are all at the net waiting for the ball to be served. Once it's served, these two will just do an easy kind of exchange. So the middle can be in the middle and the right side can be on the right side. So that's very, very simple. Okay, that's rotation 2 and 5, serve. Alright, rotation 2 and 5, serve receive is what I've been calling the W in practice. It's a little bit different than our other passing positions because we have 4 people passing instead of 3, but I think that's only really a good thing. So remember, our setter her actual position was right here in the back, but we don't want her back there, right? Because she's vulnerable to the pass. So we're actually going to have our setter stack up here with the right side hitter. So they're both going to be up at the net, waiting for the ball. And this is legal because our setter's kind of hidden still and protected by the other players. She's not offsides or out of bounds in any way. Okay, so our other players, our DS and our outside, who are already in the rotation, are going to stay where they were. Instead of having 3 people in the back, we're actually going to have our outside pull back and our middle pull back to pass. So this is the one time our middle will pass. If that actually becomes a problem and we're like our middle's really having a tough day passing, what could happen is we just ask our middle to stand up at the net. our outside shifts over, our DS shifts over, and our outside passes here. So we would have a 3-man pass again. But that's really only if we're having a tough day and we need to hide that middle. So that shouldn't happen too often because most of our girls are pretty solid passers at this level. And again, I call this the W because you can kind of see a W of your players. And this is good at this age group because you kind of don't have too many holes in the court. This outside hitter has this zone, DS has this zone, and so on. So it's pretty nice. It's a good setup for passing. Alright, so that's our rotation 2 and 5 serve receive. Once the ball is contacted, the setter is going to get into her base. The right side is going to move to hers, and this is a little awkward, so our hitters have to do a good job of figuring that out. Our middle is going to shift to her position, get ready to hit. Okay? Once we successfully get the ball over the net, we spike it, or we hit it over the net. Our setter has to remember to move herself back in to her base. So she'll be back here to pass on defense. Okay? Our outside will shift, and our DS will also shift over. Alright, so that's what we're looking for on defense, is this kind of movement. So our setter's never just going to hang out in front of the net watching our hitters work. She's going to have to move back to her base, which is in the back row. So that is rotation 2 and 5, serve receive. Alright, rotation 3 and 6, our final serving rotations. We'll have our setter over here in the left-hand corner. So she's basically almost in the front row, which is nice for the setter. Okay? So our setter's there. Our outside hitter is in the middle of the court, and it's our middle that is back to serve right now. So she's back here serving. Alright? Excuse me. Which also means that we have what was once our DS is going to get subbed in for a middle. And if I choose to, I can have a middle and a DS sub in here. So it could potentially be a DS that's serving if we have a really strong DS that can step in and serve for our middle. Or it could be a really strong middle who's good at passing and good at serving. Okay, so that could be the substitution that we have, the DS for the middle. So just be aware of that. But definitely up here in the front row, we're going to have our DS step off the court, and our middle will step on the court. So our DS is out, and our middle is in. Okay? So our middle's on the court now, and we'll have our outside hitter in the middle position, and we'll have our right side over here. Alright, so a couple things need to happen to get our girls where they need to go. Our setter is going to stack right over here, and she's going to pause. She's going to wait until that middle contacts the ball before she releases from this side of the outside hitter. She cannot cross that plane until the ball has been served. So she'll wait right here with the outside hitter. And I like to normally have my girl cross in front of the outside hitter so she would run to her base. Okay? My middle is going to run. Sorry, there's so many arrows. My middle is actually going to do a longer run. And she's going to fill in where the setter once was. So my middle will be right here once my setter moves. Okay? So that's what's going on in the back row. Alright, so setter's going this way, middle eventually will end up this way. And if you look at my front row, it's a little bit messy. My middle and my outside are not where they need to be, so they're actually going to do a switch. And again, please remember you are at the net when these switches are occurring. You're not standing here. I just do this to show where you roughly should be. Do not stand here on a serve. You should be at the net. Go to net. It's very important. You're going to be a blocker, right? So you want to get up at that net and defend it. Alright, so that's rotation 3 and 6 serve. Very simple. And then rotation 3 and 6 serve receive. And we're almost done. Final one. So our setter is going to be in the left back position. She starts right in this area over here. But we don't want her here, right? Because if the ball comes to her, she's kind of in a bad spot. So we're actually going to have our setter stack up at the net. She'll be stacking with our middle. So our middle's hanging out here and our setter's hanging out here. And this is the trickiest rotation for a lot of players because there's a lot of movement going on. Okay, our outside hitter is going to stay right where she was, and so is our right side. I'm sorry, our right side is actually going to pull back and do a little bit of passing. So our right side was here. She's actually going to shift back and pass, and you'll see why. Because our right side is going to take over that spot that the setter will leave. Okay? So our right side is going to pull back and pass. So I'm actually going to delete this part now. Right side pulls back and passes. Excuse me. And we have our outside hitter shift over. and our middle shift over. So we still have that 3-person pass. And we have a lot going up in the front row as well. Okay, so our right side would eventually move up again and hit in the front row, but she is going to pull back and pass for this rotation. So this is a little complicated, but honestly not too much. The outside hitter is just going to move over here. Once that ball is served over, our outside's moving here. Our setter is really hustling to get to the net, and our middle is getting to her base. Okay, so it's super important you get to your targets, and there's a lot of room, like a big zone for kind of accidents or crisscross. Don't let that happen. Make sure you are communicating. Make sure you kind of understand your route as you're leaving off and taking off for it. Don't run directly into your setter because you weren't paying attention. Okay, so this is our nice rotation 3 and rotation 6 server seed. Alright, and we've made it through all 6 rotations at this point. And remember that once we hit that that kind of switch over, so 1 and 2 and 3 will be done by setter 1. And set rotations 4, 5, and 6 will be done by another setter. So we are going to have some substitutions to bring us back to our full 6-person rotation. Alright, that's it for me. Let me know if you have questions when you see me. And again, those are the 6-2 rotations for a volleyball match. Bye!